You know, when I created the KenoKino channel, I was thinking that I wanted to have 3 different videos to go ahead and upload when the channel releases and when it launches. And I had the first 2 down, bam bam, right? But the third one, I wasn't too sure what I wanted to do. I had a couple thoughts, a couple theories, and then, like an angel from the heavens, Kai Cenat drops his brand new short film, Global Pursuit. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. I watched it at work. I just came home. First thing I did is turn on the camera because I have got to talk to you about this movie. I took notes. So, welcome to KenoKino. My name is Keno, and today we're reviewing and breaking down Kai Cenat'S Global Pursuit. So first off, it's a short film, which was interesting because people were just kind of like, Deserto was talking about it being just Kai Cenat is in a new comedy film. But I wouldn't really classify it as that. It's more so like he just kind of made a short film with his friends. And you can tell, no offense, but I'm going to keep it kind of real throughout the video. You know, I'm not going to lie or sugarcoat. There's so many things wrong with it. I swear on my life, I wasn't trying to write only negative things down, but I just didn't have anything. I just didn't have anything good to say. It was just all a big mess from start to finish, and I'm sorry. It just, oh my goodness, it was. I mean, it was something. So let's talk about a few things. So right off the bat, it's very clearly it's a Rush Hour kind of idea, inspired by Rush Hour for sure. You can see Kai's even leaned into it. He's talked about it in the comments. I was definitely kind of Rush Hour inspired. Um, and so what we have, the synopsis is that we have an officer who I don't even know is named during the film. He calls himself Lil Yachty once, and I genuinely don't think they ever said his name. He is trying to catch a criminal who has come to the U.S., who's, I believe they're a Chinese criminal. And when he goes to do this, an officer from Taiwan, which I don't know if that really makes sense as a concept. An officer from Taiwan is also there, and he's trying to catch the criminal. And they bump into each other, and then the criminal gets away, and then they need to work together to catch the criminal. That's kind of the basis of it. None of it works at all. None of it makes any sense. None of it really goes together very well. Let's go ahead. Let's talk about the first part. So first, we start off with these villains, these Chinese villains, I believe. The villains are meeting up with this guy known as Shadow. And so they go, and then they're talking about the legend of Shadow and how cool he is. And then the second lead comes out. It's not Kai. The character's name is Tsai. I don't really know who he is in real life. Apparently, he's like a viewer of Kai's, and they became friends, and that's cool. It makes a lot of sense because as you're watching the movie, you're like, he doesn't want to be here. He's not an actor. He doesn't. I mean, maybe he was having fun, but he doesn't want to act. He's not, his heart's not in it. And so then he says that he's Shadow, and then he's like, yeah, I've got the money if you've got the product, and they go find the product. And this is all happening in a massage parlor for some reason. He doesn't work at the massage parlor. They don't work at the massage parlor. I mean, they've traveled to do this. And so here at the massage parlor, they're going to exchange the money for the goods. Now, at the same time, in the massage parlor, Kai is there, and he's getting a massage. He's supposed to be on the job as a police officer, but he's just getting a massage. I think it was literally all just so they could make the hot rock joke. And, you know, fair. For some reason, when Shadow is telling the lady to come inside the parlor with him, well, he doesn't tell the lady. He says, whoever's the boss, come with me. And then, like, there's a man there and the lady, and the man starts to walk forward, but then the lady, like, does this just like power Street Fighter move. It just and pushes him down instead of just being like, no, I'm gonna go, I'm the leader, or no, I want to go, or like they don't talk about it at all. She just goes for the throat, and he's just kind of chill about it. Like she gives him like an arm bar kind of thing, or like just grabs on his arm, I don't know what it's called, and like pushes him down, and he's just kind of like, and he doesn't really complain. You know what, that's his business. Okay. They get inside the parlor. And inside the parlor, Kai is talking to the masseuse, and the masseuse is like asking him about what he does and stuff. And he's like, "Oh, you know, I'm a rapper. They call me Lil Yachty." And she's like, "Oh, I know Lil Yachty," which prompts her to then make a phone call to get her friends down to come see Lil Yachty later on. Which, by the way, the actress, she definitely speaks fluent English, but she doesn't. But she puts on like a broken accent, and you can tell. You can tell. And then after the lady leaves, and he's like messing around with his gun, and he's like pretending to hold someone up or like tell someone to freeze, I suppose. And then his thing drops, his towel drops. He's in a towel. The masseuse is like, "Whoa, okay," and he's making jokes. He's like, "Oh, I know you don't have guns in China, and I know you don't have this in China." And then the masseuse leaves, and that's kind of how that goes. Now, that's all fine and dandy, you know. It's a nice little, cute little thing. So far, we're not really at anything crazy. So far, nothing super weird or it doesn't make a lot of sense. But then, you kind of quickly, we get to weird. Why is this happening? Territories. For example, Kai is walking around in a towel. He didn't think to get dressed, like, because he knows he's there on an assignment, and he never got dressed in like a uniform or bulletproof vest or just any clothes. He's just in a towel, and it's done for comedic effect for sure. But there's never like a reason why he can't get dressed. Like he has time to. He's getting a massage. He could just like pretend to get a massage, get dressed real quick, go do his thing. But he doesn't. He puts on his badge, which he puts on his back, and that's kind of like a running gag. Like that happened. Like they talk about it later too. Like you know how police officers, like detectives, will have their badges hanging on their chest. He has it on his back for some reason. I think maybe it's just like to show the badge to the camera when he's like walking down. He has his gun, he has his towel, and his badge, and I don't know. It just doesn't seem like an effective plan. So they're heading to go do or so Shadow and the main villain lady are heading to go do crime. They're heading to go make the money exchange for the product. So Shadow gives her the money, and then she's like, "All right, follow me for the product." And that's where they kind of bump into Kai, who's in his towel and his gun. And so apparently on the outside, the henchmen, the goons are like, "Hey, wait a minute, I know that guy. That's not Shadow. I used to ride horses with him back in Taiwan." And then they go and they run, and we come back to Shadow, who is now known as Tsai, and the other girl, and that's when Kai runs up, and they kind of do their whole little thing, and they crack some jokes and about like he's like holding the gun is like freeze, and she's like, "Oh, this is what American robbery is like," and he's like, "Oh, you think because I'm black I'm robbing you? No, I'm a police officer." Like gets his badge from around his neck and shows it, and there you go. And it turns out that Tsai is also like a Chinese or a Taiwanese or somewhere in there police officer detective who's chasing after this person, and she's like, "Oh my goodness," and then she runs, and then they chase her through like like a whole bunch of curtains and massage tables. So they're jumping over tables, she's running around tables, and she's trying to escape, and then they're chasing after her. So that leads us to the first thing where I was like, well, this makes no sense. Which is that it cuts. So we show them running through all the things, but then it cuts to like the end of the hallway where she runs through the curtain and runs away, and they just kind of fall on the ground somehow. Kai and Sai fall on the ground as she runs at the curtain, and then points a gun at each other and like, "You let her get away!" And she 1000% did not get away. She just went through that curtain about 2 seconds before they fell on the ground, and nothing's like keeping them on the ground. It's not like something fell on top of them and they're stuck. They're just sitting there pointing guns at each other, being like, "You let her get away," and she's right around that corner, without a doubt in my mind. Like, you just get up, you can keep chasing her, everything's good. So that was just kind of silly. And this is also the point where I understood that as I was watching, I was like, why are there subtitles burnt into the movie? Like, if you watch the movie, there are just subtitles at the bottom. It's not like you turn them on. They're just there. They're edited in. The bulk of the movie is actually with Chinese or Taiwanese or just characters that English isn't their first language, and so they have broken English and accents. And so you would think, okay, I guess that's why. But at the same time, it's also Kai, because he says a line, and I swear to you, it's like the brainstorm or green needle effect, where like if I played that line for you, you would not know what he said without the subtitles. We could do it over and over. You'd get 10 different lines. It'd be like 10 different random things. You're just guessing. Your guess is as good as mine, because there is nobody on the world that can understand what he was trying to say. It was just a big garbled sped up mess, and yeah. First one I catch, I get to bring in. Capiche? Now, the next part is that they finally decide to get back up and chase after her, but then they exit the massage parlor where all of a sudden there are a bunch of girls over there. They're all palling after Kai because they think that he's Lil Yachty. And at this point, things get even more silly, a little wacky, I dare say, where Sai is having a PTSD attack because he's scared of women, and so the camera's getting all shaky and things are getting all out of whack because he's having PTSD because he doesn't know how to act around women. I guess that's the idea. Um, but that's not even the wackiest part because while this is all happening, they run out the door. Is Kai's like, hey, how are you doing? Hey, look at you. Hey, and Sal's like, ha, 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 in the corner. But guess what? Guess what the wackiest part is? Is that the villain lady, she's just chilling outside. Like, she just watches. She's been waiting for them. She let them have like their little speech together on the floor. She let them run out, and she's just waiting, like probably leaned up against the wall, like just kind of chilling, waiting for them to come out. And then all of a sudden they come out, and she's like, oh, and even then she doesn't just like run away when she sees them come out. No, she sees them. She sees him, Sai, have a full-on panic attack. She just watches Kai spit game, and she's just watching and watching and watching. And then all of a sudden, once Kai notices her, that's when she's like, "Oh, gotta run!" and starts booking it. And it was just like, why? Why didn't you just run to begin with? You could have been gone. You could have gone to Taco Bell and left at this point, and everything. You would still have so much more time. Like, it doesn't matter. They took so long to get here. You did not have to just wait and chill for no reason. There's like a Moist Critical meme where it's like, get back here so you can get away from me. And that's kind of like what that felt like. And then it cuts to them chasing after her again with all the women running behind them. But I guess like the camera couldn't move very fast. Like, and so they just had them jog. Like, jogging would be putting it extremely. It's more like speed walking. Because they're just kind of like, we gotta catch her. How could you let her get away? Oh man. And they're just kind of like barely even breaking a sweat, quite frankly. That's where the Lil Yachty cameo comes in, where he's just kind of standing on the sideline reading newspaper and he puts back up and that's it. It was cool. It was nice to see him. He did great. And then they keep chasing her and they get to this point where there's like kind of like an alley, but also not like an alley. It's the whole kind of setup is a little confusing, but then again, I only watched it once. Maybe that's on me. Maybe that one's on me. But I know for a fact that she runs to the right at the end of this little scene and they run to the left. And like, I guess it could have been like she runs this way and they ran this way and then this way. But either way, like the maneuver still is weird because they end up in the same spot. And so even if they just kind of did this, it feels unnecessary. That's how I feel about it. Okay. Then we get super goofy. I'm talking maximum silliness. I'm talking Goofy, Pluto, Mickey. They're all hanging out. That's where we're at now. Because then Kai is like, if you don't shut up to Sai, because Sai's saying some things about like gonna catch her and how Kai messed it up. Kai's like, Sai messed it up. He's like, if you don't stop, I'm gonna tase you. And then Sai doesn't stop, and then Kai tases him. And maybe you don't picture in your mind everything I've said, but let me kind of break down why that's so goofy. Is that Kai is still in his towel. He has his gun. He doesn't have a taser. Where did the taser come from? He has it for a split second where he tases him, and then it just gone. He pulled a GTA. He whipped it right out, whipped it back, gone. And it's not talked about. It's never explained. He gets tased on the floor, and then he pops back up like a minute later. So I don't really know what that was for, but you know. And then when Sai gets back up, he runs. He grabs Kai's towel and keeps running away with it. And now Kai's naked. And so Kai actually walks into the costume shop by coincidence, because that's where the lady went. But he doesn't know that. He's just going there because he needs some clothes. So he's like, give me some serious clothes. And that's where we see Phantom. And Phantom, I don't really know him that well, but I'll be very honest. He was probably the best actor in the movie. Great job, Phantom. You did great. And then at this point, the lady's inside the costume store and she gives a call back to the henchman. And now where we left off with the henchman was that they were like, wait a minute, that's not Shadow. That's the man who rode horses with me. And then they ran into the parlor. No, they didn't run into the parlor. They ran towards the parlor. Can you guess where they're at? Like 5 minutes later when we call them again? They're still outside the parlor, making as though they're going to go in. What have they been doing the whole time? They said they were going to go get him. They said they were going to go help. They didn't help. They just waited outside. I don't get it. I'm confused. Why? What happened? What were they doing? Kai puts on Michael Jackson's Thriller outfit and he bumps into the lady and he grabs the money back from the lady. And then the lady and him kind of get into it. They tussle a little bit. The henchmen show up. When the henchmen showed up, they called him Black Michael Jackson. And, well, that just ruined my immersion completely. I mean, obviously, this guy has never seen Thriller. Because otherwise, if he'd seen Thriller, he would know that Michael Jackson is black. And since he hasn't seen Thriller, he wouldn't recognize the Michael Jackson costume that he saw. He wouldn't know it's Michael Jackson costume. He'd just be like, the guy in the red and black suit. So, that just ruined the whole thing, really. So once the henchmen arrive, Kai gives them the money because they're pointing guns at him, and then he runs away back into the costume store, and that's where the Michael Jackson thing happens. And then at this point, they all kind of are having a big shootout on the inside. Sai's outside. He hears the shooting. He comes and he's heading to go check it out. But then we have the most dull gunfight you will ever see in your life, because it takes place in just a small little hallway between clothes where there's Kai over here and then there's them over here. There's 3 of them in this skinny little hallway, and I've never seen muzzle flashes look so dull. It looks like the end of a cigarette being lit every time they fire a gun. It was very dull looking. Which, it's a small little short film, it's cool. But I was surprised. If I'm doing a short film, I'm blasting. I'm doing the explosions every time I shoot a gun, They're a little bit of fun. But it's very clear that nobody was thinking about actually shooting the guns like anyone would shoot a gun. They're just sporadically pop, 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 pop. And so everyone's just kind of pulling triggers. No one's hitting anything. And I don't mean like hitting each other. I just mean anything. No like debris is being shot and flown around at all. You'll see like a little black dot on the floor, like at some point when they need to kind of zoom in on a bullet hitting something. But it's just kind of like a black dot just kind of poof appears to symbolize that a bullet has hit that spot. And then, especially with Kai. I mean, with Kai, like, there are 3 of them in a skinny little hallway. It's literally like if you had to shoot me right now, and we're in this tight little space, and you keep shooting everything but me in this tight little space. That's what Kai was doing. I'm pretty sure the stormtroopers are going to make him the king. And then kind of some more things happen, but then we get to like a fight scene where Sai shows up and he starts fighting. And, like, if you're going to get actors that don't act, just get some people. So that way at least the fighting is like fun and cool. But no, everyone's just kind of fighting underwater because they're not stunt people. You can't expect them to go and have a really good fight scene. All their punches are like, ooh, ah. And, it shows. And I don't get it. I guess I get that Sai, the actor who plays Sai, is like Kai's friend and he knows him, so that's fair. I don't know the other people. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think those are just random people. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe those are his friends too, and they all just kind of want to be a part of it. Again, if they're all just kind of friends hanging out doing their thing, cool. You guys did great. You had fun. That's all that matters. But like, if you wanted to actually make like a good short film, I don't know why you made the decisions you did with the casting process. No offense. It didn't make sense to me. There's a moment where Kai gets kicked into like a wall, but no leg kicks him, and it's just like, why did you show that then? Like, at least like have him jump, because there's like a rack of clothes. Okay, there's like a rack of clothes here, and Kai like gets kicked here and hits the wall over here, right? But they showed him not getting kicked here. Just put him a little bit further so that way they can't see him not get kicked and just have him jump back. But no, they showed the whole thing. They showed him just not get kicked and jump. I don't understand. I'm not understanding the writing, not understanding the directing. Gonna be honest. Hate to say it. It's true. Don't get it. Don't get it. And it's at this point where the sound team resigned. They gave up. They quit. They're not working there anymore. Because then the fighting is still happening. No punching sound effects are happening anymore. It's all just the people making... They're hitting. There's no sound coming at all. I don't know what happened to the sound team. If they quit. If they were just busy. If they just were like, nah, don't feel like it. They just weren't there. There were no sounds. And I don't know what happened, because they were there like 5 seconds ago. But just halfway through, they're like, I'm done. And now at this point, the plot changes. It goes from 2 police officers chasing the villain to now the villain has her money. She can just leave. But no, the police officers run away and hide in the store. And she gives the money to one of the henchmen. And she just starts hunting the police officers. It's not like they wronged her. It's not like they did anything to really warrant her trying to kill them. Like, they are just kind of a nuisance for the most part. She could just leave and chill. But now they're hiding from her, and she's chasing after them with a gun. And it's like, why? What happened? Why aren't you guys chasing after her? Why is she chasing after you? I don't get it. But, that's their business. It's the next morning. I wanted to sleep on things and see if that changed the way I felt about the movie. I can honestly say It didn't. There are a lot of moments in the movie where Kai and Sai are supposed to get stuck in like comedic effect, but it never works because it's the most unnatural situations that would never happen to anyone. It makes no sense. Because like so my first example was like when they fall to the ground after she runs through the curtain. Nothing's keeping them on the ground. They could just keep chasing her. Or right here in this little fight scene, they do the little dance of it's like whoo, whoo, like they like Sai is thrown onto Kai, and then they're like grabbing onto each other and going like hoo ha ha, like shaking each other around for no reason. You could just push them out of the way, and it's just like it's like an old 2000s, it's like an old early 2000s kind of joke, but it just doesn't really work because it just they all fumble into each other, and like it's very clear they're just like hitting the beats. It doesn't feel natural as they're doing their little thing, just kind of like and then toss. And then all of a sudden the main villain is pointing a gun at them and they're like, shoot me, not him. No, 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 shoot me, not him. And it's like, you guys don't know each other. You guys just met like 5 seconds ago and you're taking bullets? You guys are out of your minds. Like, it's called, like, that's infatuation, not love. I'm gonna tell you that right now, okay? If you're taking a bullet for somebody after 5 minutes of knowing them, you're out of your mind. So, be careful. And then who do you think gets shot? Nobody, because all of a sudden, big twist, the Lil Yachty girls somehow find out that he's in the costume store, and so they run into the costume store, but a big fan of girls being like, Lil Yachty, Lil Yachty. And at this point, the villain is pointing her gun at Kai and Sai, and then a bunch of girls rush in, they knock her to the side, and they go after Kai, and Kai and Sai are like, ah, ha, 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 which Sai's lost his PTSD at this point. He's just chilling. I mean, after going through a big gunfight, you would think he'd be even more shaken up, but no, he's just like, ha, ha, look, women. And then what happens after this? Nothing. It cuts to them eating food at a restaurant. Nothing happens. The main villain, they don't talk about her again. Never once is she spoken about in the entire movie. I don't know what happens to her. She just got knocked to the ground, and then a bunch of girls rush around them. They're just celebrating all the girls, and then nothing happens. Like, it doesn't show her leaving. It doesn't show her getting arrested. At this point, they can keep chasing after her, right? They can keep going and getting her, especially now because a bunch of girls are blocking the exit, so she can't get out. So chase her, get her. But no, they're just like, ha ha ha, women, ha ha ha, girls. And then it cuts them in a restaurant eating food, talking about the Equalizer and their names. And it was just like, what in the world are we doing? What was this movie supposed to be? I just don't get it. I really don't. Also, does Kai know who Cheech and Chong are? There's a line where he says that this woman's gonna think you're staring at her. Cheech and Chong. He says it like it's a Chinese phrase. He goes, Cheech and Chong. And it's like, what? That's not how that's said. And then Kai goes to the bathroom, he sits on the toilet, he starts humming the beat to Thriller, and they're kind of offbeat, but they're humming it together, him and some guy in another stall, and then all of a sudden they started singing Thriller, but the actor they got to sing Thriller has never heard Thriller. Never once. They're singing it, the guy is just saying kind of the words, like he must have kind of memorized the words, and he's just kind of trying to keep up with Kai, and Kai is singing it, but it's just a big lunch. It's literally what it sounds like. I'm not joking. That could have been audio from the movie, because that's how much of a garbled mess it is, because the other guy's not singing on beat. He doesn't know the beat. He doesn't know what's happening. And Kai, it's even messing up Kai. Kai's messing up the words a little bit sometimes. And then while this is happening, Sai is trying to go and rizz up a girl at the restaurant. Now, after watching this movie, you may be thinking like, oh, these people don't know what a joke is. The writers have never told a joke. They've never heard a joke. They must be Amish. No offense to Amish people, although you're not going to see this video. So, because then Sai tries to make a joke to the girl. He's like, is someone sitting there? And the girl's like, my boyfriend's sitting there. And then he's like, that wasn't a question. It was like, what? In what universe? In what universe does the Predator Riz get anybody? And we're coming up on the ending of the movie. Guess what happens? The guy that Kai was singing with in the bathroom happens to be the main henchman who took the money earlier in the movie. And he busts him. He's like, whoa, oh. He's like, I met a Chinese man today. The Chinese man's like, yeah, I was from China. I met a black Michael Jackson. Kai's like, black Michael Jackson? You do know he is black. And then they see each other and they're like, oh. And well, that's pretty much the end of the movie. Tsai figures it out because he sees the briefcase there. The woman that he was talking to apparently was an escort for this guy. So the guy pretty much literally took the money and hired a lady of the night. For what reason? I don't know. Didn't he have business to conduct? Didn't he have things to do with the money? No, he just left. The main villain woman's not there. He just decided to spend it on a woman. For what reason? I don't know. What is he doing? I don't know. What business are they in? I don't fucking know. I'm losing my damn mind. I don't know what's happening here. I guess after watching that movie, the biggest thing that I can think of is the word why. Why did they make it? Why did no one in the cast feel like acting? And why did they watch the final cut and think, yep, we're ready to go? Look, at the end of the day, this is clearly a project that Kai wanted to do, take the first step into a different direction from streaming, and I have nothing but the utmost respect for that, right? But the way that he's done it is making no sense to me. I mean, ultimately, if he wants to get into movies, just go audition to be in a real production, you know? Like, making your own film is huge. It's respectable, right? If he actually made it. But he didn't even write the script. He didn't direct it. I don't know what keeps him attached to this. It doesn't make any sense to me. He was only an actor and a producer. So I don't know. If you wanted to be an actor, like, go be an actor in a real film. You could probably do it. Just learn how to act. Go do it and have a great time. There's no offense, Kai. I mean, you did fine in the movie. But you were just kind of yourself. You know, it's just like we watched Kai Cenat run through and go do anything. I mean, you didn't even have a name in the movie. You were just a police officer. Called himself Lil Yachty. We got the actor strike and the writer strike going on, so just wait. Just wait. You know, it'll still be there. And you'll have good productions later on. You could just chill and do it. Now, that being said, though, if he just wanted to make like a little funny, goofy home movie with his friends, well, then he did great. It's a 10 out of 10, right? You got a blast. You had a little goofiness going on. You went and did this little thing, and that's great. But if you wanted this to be like your first like step into like a different kind of hobby or career, it wasn't the best step to take, because no one's looking at it and being like, oh, Kai wrote his own movie, and no one's looking at it going, oh, Kai directed his own movie. No, they're gonna look at it and be like, oh, Kai acted in like this little silly goofy short film, and it was rough. So I hate to be a harsh critic over a goofy little movie, but at the end of the day, we gotta be honest, all right? It was a movie that made no sense with some whack stunts and Vine level acting, okay? The editing team gave up halfway through, and so, you know, I think just like the editors, that's kind of where I'm at. I'm also walked out, and that's pretty much it. Look, everyone's starting somewhere. That's just how it goes. And so I wish nothing but the best of luck to Kai, the rest of the cast, anybody else who wanted to take a first step in another direction. Well, a first step is a first step. That's for sure. At the end of the day, regardless of how great of the first step is, making the first step is very important. So, really great stuff. I'm happy you guys made it. I hope to see more from all of them. I think it'll be a good time. It's all a learning experience, baby. And so this has been KenoKino. I am Keno. Thanks for checking it out. Like I said, I dropped 2 new videos with this channel if you want to go check them out. One's talking about Interstellar, and the other one's talking about the new Talk to Me movie by Rocket Rocket Channel. Anyways, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you all later on, I guess. Later.